Hello everyone, and welcome back to more Neckbeard stories with your friend Moonhorse. I had to read this one just because the name alone drew me in. And I don't know what we're going to get into. I'm a little nervous. But, here we go. From Reddit user Plum Branches. That one time in ninth grade when I dated a neo-Nazi edgelord who thought he was king of Falador. Oh boy. Hey, call me Plum. Let me introduce these characters. Let's just call him Fritz, because he claimed to be Irish-German, and our King of Falador needs an appropriate name. Let's call my ex, who at the time I was still friends with, Josh, and my insane best friend at the time, let's just call her Crazy, because I can't think of anything else that would suit her. Our tale starts when Josh and I were in ninth grade, and Crazy and Fritz were in eighth. Ninth grade in high school in our town, so... Ninth grade is high school in our town, I'm sorry. So, Josh and I went there, but we'd gone to the same middle school as Crazy and Fritz, so we all kind of knew each other. So Fritz and I had been friends for a while, and he once put a letter in my locker while I was still in middle school. I still have it to this day. I read it to you now, and I read it now and then, and try to figure out what exactly it meant. It puzzles me to this day. It read... You have potential, but you need to work on your personality. I can help you. Tell no one of this, winky face. Worst love letter I'd ever received. At the time, Josh and I were still dating, so I ignored it. Once I was in high school, sometime after homecoming, Josh and I broke up. It wasn't a bad breakup, we just decided we'll just be friends. It wasn't until Valentine's Day that I started dating Fritz, and after giving him a box of chocolates, he took it as more than it was. Oh, I'm sorry. It says he amused. He assumed that it meant that we were dating, and I was like, okay, whatever. So over the next few weeks that it was over the next few weeks that I realized that the thing Fritz had always talked about wasn't a joke. He was obsessed with Germany, not the culture or the distant history. No. He was obsessed with Nazi Germany, and he talked constantly about how Hitler was such a genius and his vision was never realized. I'm getting angry already. This should have been a red flag. Big one. But I was young and stupid. We both liked playing RuneScape. Oh, fuck, RuneScape. Oh, shit, y'all. He had a membership and talked about all sorts of things that at first I believed because I'm playing on the free servers. He claimed to be King of Falador. For those of you who don't know what RuneScape is, Falador is a city in the game that just so happens to have literal white knights. That is, knights in white armor. In RuneScape, you don't get to become a king or anything like that, but he wore this ring, probably got from Hot Topic, that had a little golden crown on it. He also thought that he had to keep his bloodline pure and wanted to date me because I had pale eyes like his, and that meant our child would have pale eyes. Ew. I broke it to him that I had a good bit of Hispanic heritage and a distant Native American in me, and he was annoyed by it and said if our child came out too dark he'd leave me but since I was passing for white that it would do. Ugh. This puzzled me at first, but alarmed Josh, who really didn't like Fritz. It all came to a head on my birthday in early March. I was hanging out with Crazy at first. It was the weekend, and we'd spent the night at her house watching movies. We at first meet up with Fritz the next day to just kind of walk around town. Then we run into Josh and some of our other friends. Josh split off to hang out with us eventually. He had his BB gun with him, and that got Crazy's attention. She starts shooting Josh and Fritz with it. Josh didn't care because he was wearing thick clothes and didn't feel it, but Fritz got really angry. He charged after her at one point and grabbed her arm. Oh, I'm sorry. She charged after her at one point. I grabbed his arm to stop him. He pulled away and turned on me, putting his hand around my throat and screaming at me they wouldn't let some girl treat him like that. He went after her again and I tackled him to the ground. Josh took the gun from Crazy at this point, while I had Fritz in a headlock, my army dad taught me. I yelled at him that I was breaking up with him for him to leave me alone and never speak to me again. He just laid there. After that. Josh, Crazy, and I went back to my house, and I was just fuming on the sofa. We weren't there for half an hour before Fritz is pounding on the door. I told him he'd better leave before my dad got home, and I told him what he'd done. He gets pale, even for his pasty self, and he left. We go back inside. Not a moment later, there's a kid from next door come around knocking to tell me that Fritz is trying to hang himself in my neighbor's tree with some shoestring. Oh, Lord. Josh runs out to cut him down, and I sit on the porch watching with Crazy, who didn't blame herself one bit. She said that he was bound to snap eventually, and to be honest, she was right. The fire department and the police showed up and took Fritz away, and I hope that this will be the end of it. In our school, 9th graders had their own building, and at high school, so when I was in 10th grade and Fritz was in 9th, we didn't really see each other, and I was glad, until one day he decided to get on the bus. I noticed right away he'd grown a neckbeard. He'd also invested in a trench coat. He had the nerve to sit down next to me, and I took a look at him, said no words at all, and jumped over the seat to get away from him. I told the school the next day and how I didn't want him near me. They told me that he was not allowed on my bus and that he shouldn't have been there in the first place. They didn't know how they were going to handle it when he came out the main campus. When he came over to the main campus the following year, but I ended up moving and he was sent to juvie. Wow. So it worked itself out. I have no idea what King Fritz of Falador is doing now, and I don't care. It's been over 10 years, and who knows? He may have killed somebody. I wouldn't be surprised. So, wow, that was a story. I'm gonna tell you a little story too at the end of this one. Little Moonhorse anecdote that goes with this. See, in stories like this, and I'm reading from you guys and reading from everyone and all this other stuff that I see on Reddit, they talk about how it's shocking that these people, these neo-Nazi motherfuckers exist, and it is pretty horrible. Don't get me wrong. However, the only reason that your friend Moonhorse doesn't seem too surprised that they're there is because they are everywhere down here. The fucking Klan still exists down here, and I'm pretty sure they're one town over from here. I have seen their flags around, and believe me, it's incredibly tempting to just torch it. But of course, I'd be the one in trouble after that. So, yeah, I kind of know what this girl's talking about, because you don't expect to run into literal fucking Nazis, because who the fuck would run into literal fucking Nazis in this day and age? And then you're giving your friend's cousin a ride home, and he's talking about some great thing he got from a buddy of his, and pulls an enormous Nazi flag out of his backpack, and you have to throw the motherfucker out of the car. That's a true story. I did that. I basically told him, you get your little Nazi cunt out of my fucking car before I beat you to death with a tire iron. You don't ever fucking come around me with that fucking bullshit, or I'll fucking kick your ass. Bottom line, Moonhorse hates Nazis. I have a long history and heritage of hating Nazis, okay? It's just a thing with me. It's the thing. Don't like them. Kind of a thing. So yeah, I can understand whenever this kind of shit just shows up and you realize that, hey, big surprise, the Nazi supporter, the neo-Nazis, not exactly fucking stable people. So, yeah, I know. I was, as horrified as I was by his actions, I'm also not surprised. And then to immediately play the victim and try to hang himself with his shoelaces after basically assaulting somebody. I mean, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? But alright. This is yet another weird story with your friend Moonhorse, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. If you have your own stories to submit, I have a subreddit. It should be in the description. If you want to contribute to this, I have a Patreon. You can, send a couple dollars that way. That'd be cool. Anyway, I'm going to go read more Neckbeard stories and drink a lot of alcohol, because that's what I do with my life. It's so fulfilling. I love you all. Goodbye.